Hi everyone and welcome back. It's already Wednesday. I've been home with my sick kids and done a bunch of other stuff, but now we're on it again, so hopefully we can accomplish something in the last days here of the work week. And one really great thing is that I have a rear axle for the Nova. At least we hope. I haven't checked anything on it. I haven't unpacked it, so that's what we're gonna start with here today. But I think the leaf spring purchase looks to be the same and everything. So yeah, I really hope that this thing fits and we can take the brakes from that rear axle and so on. But anyway, I'm gonna start unpacking this thing so that we can see that this looks good enough, and then we can start removing the rear axle on the car. Here we have it. He told me this was a 68-69 rear end from a Camaro, and it's a 10 bolt as we can see. And I think this was a pretty fun. Oh, it's a one-legger, so we don't have any limited slip in this. And if I roll this forwards, this side rolls backwards. So yeah, it's an open diff, but I hadn't expected anything else. But from what I can see, with these tabs, I think this is an 8.5-inch ring gear. And since that one is a 7.5, we're putting on a beefier axle, but not any limited slip or something. But that's the way it's going to be. So I hope we have the same U-joint and that this distance from center of the rear axle to the yoke isn't longer, because then we have to shorten the drive shaft, and yeah, but we'll have to see. But anyway, I'm gonna rig this up so I can check the oil. No, don't check the oil, but I'm guessing they already drained the oil, but I want to see that everything looks good in here. So that's, yeah, gonna fix that. So this looks about what I expected. Of course, it isn't redone or anything, so I mean, should see some dirt and stuff, but there's nothing broken anyway, so that's good. So yeah, not much to argue about. Just gonna put it in there and see if it works. I removed some stuff, and the axle is basically loose on this side, but the problem we're having is the brakes. And I could remove all the brakes, remove the wheel cylinder, but I may break the brake line, the fluid line. Maybe not on this, but we may also break the bleeder. And in that case, we need new wheel cylinders. But if we remove all of this, we don't have to do a thing. We don't have to mess with the parking brake cable. That's a pain in the ass. The thing is, then we have to remove the rear axle, the axle on this side, and the other side, of course, the drive axle. And then we need to remove the pin in the carrier and remove the C-clips, which I'm not really familiar with or comfortable with. But I think that will be a lot easier and faster than disassembling all of this. So yeah, since this actually is toast anyway, I'm gonna remove the cover, see if I can get the pin out and remove the axles, and see what we can do. Remove the cover here again, and I can't understand how I have emptied this once and it's a lot left for some reason. But anyway, I'm gonna try and remove the pin here so I can remove the C-clips and get out the axles. I hope that this isn't too hard to get out, but I guess we'll see. I managed to remove the pin and the C-clip. Wasn't that hard, and nothing has fallen apart yet. So yeah, I have to do everything on the other side, or everything. Remove the wheel and brakes so I can remove this axle also. But anyway, I'm gonna pull this apart, see if I can remove the backing plates and everything. Then we're gonna see if we can do the same thing on this ugly turd. I removed the axle, no problems. So the great thing now is I can just remove these 4 bolts and remove all of the brakes. We don't have to remove the brake lines, the parking brake cables. We don't have to remove the shoes or anything. So yeah, I really think we're gonna save some time here. So I'm gonna go ahead, remove those, and do everything I've done here on the other side, and then this is ready to come out. I got the bolts off. Three out of 4 broke, but the nice thing now is you can just take all of this and just remove it. We don't have to remove a single brake piece individually. So I just have to zip tie this or something out of the way without breaking the brake line. So yeah, gonna do the same thing on the other side, then we can just take out the axle. Everything is loose, so this should come out now. I could remove the rear bolts on the leaves and hang them down. That would be a lot easier, but I don't want to try and break any more bolts right now. So I'm going to try and wiggle it out one end at a time between the leaves. So yeah, I'm going to try and do that. I had out of the car, and of course there is an infinite amount of oil in this thing that keeps on spilling out every time I touch it, but it's out anyway. So my plan now is I'm gonna disassemble this so we can get the backing plates off this thing, and then I will not first, but then I'm probably gonna put the brakes on this axle, so this is a little more complete. So that's my plan, but the major thing is getting this thing in the car and getting those backing plates on this thing. So I'm gonna try and disassemble this. I have the new rear axle disassembled as far as I want to do it. I'm gonna remove the the outer axle seals. Hard to find a word sometimes, but I checked, they're like $8 a piece here in Sweden, so I really think I'm not gonna cheap out on that and ruin the rear brakes. I mean, those are probably really old. So yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna take this out now, pressure wash it. There's some surface rust where the part of the stuff in the axle that hasn't been in oil all the time. So yeah, I can flush all that surface rust out. But then we can start putting it in the car. Pressure washed it with some hot water, and it turned out really good. It looks a hell of a lot better inside here. Also removed the outer seals here so I can wash the bearings. So this would probably be good with some new oil. But yeah, nothing more to do. We just have to get it in there and bolt it in. The rear axle is in place, went really easy. I tried the U-bolts since this axle has beefier axle tubes than that one has. But the strange thing is they accept the same outer wheel seal. So this is really tapered here. But anyway, all of that is good. We're going to be able to bolt it in, but the bad thing is, as I assumed, the axle housing, the yoke seems to be more forward. If you're looking from the center of the rear axle, so I think we have to shorten the drive shaft. But yeah, not much to do. You just have to do it. But I'm gonna do that when all of this is done, and I'm gonna bolt the rear axle, put on the brakes, and yeah, then we can do the drive shaft. So yeah, just gonna keep on working. Got everything in place, brakes are bolted in, U-bolts are torqued, got the shock absorbers in place. So besides with the wheel seals, then we can just put it all together. And for now the axle is replaced, at least it is bolted in as it where it wants to be. The bad thing is that this is never going to work with the drive shaft. It is too long. So I think it's about an inch or something that we need to shorten it. I'm gonna take some measurements which I should have done when I had it on the floor. But anyway, I'm gonna see if I can get any measurement how much I need to shorten it, but I think, yeah, about 1 inch. But I have to go and pick up my kids here in like an hour, and I don't want to start cutting, grinding and welding when I have to leave, so we have to keep working on that tomorrow. So I'm gonna do some other stuff here the rest of the day, and I will be back tomorrow when I'm gonna fix the drive shaft and hopefully test drive this thing. So see you tomorrow. We're back. It's Thursday morning, and I went to pick up the wheel seals and diff cover gasket and some oil today. So the plan is put in the wheel seals, in with the axles, and assemble the stuff in the diff so that all of this is done. Then we have to tackle the drive shaft. And if you're asking yourself why didn't I paint the rear axle yesterday when I had it loose here on the jack stands, and that is because if I paint something in my garage, it stinks for the rest of the day, and it's not really good weather to paint something outside. So the last thing I did before I went in yesterday is I laid under here and rattle canned the rear axle black, so it looks pretty good. So yeah, so yeah, we're just gonna put in the seals and put all of this together. Get everything assembled here with the pin and stuff, and the axles are in, so we could just put on the cover and fill it with oil, and the rear axle change would be done. But we still have some problems, and first of all it's the drive shaft that we have to shorten, and number 2 is that you see this little leak, and that is the brake line over here that has broken when I messed around here. So this is off, so we have to reflare this and hopefully it will seal. So we have to do that and the drive shaft, and then I think I'm gonna fill up the rear axle. So yeah, just gonna keep on working. Pretty unbelievable, but this was not tightened. So I've tightened this as much as I could. So hopefully this doesn't leak. Maybe we can go in and push the pedal a bit and see. But hopefully we don't have to mess with that. So I'm gonna leave that for now and fix the drive shaft. We have the drive shaft where it wants to be. You can see the shiny area here where the seal has polished it. So that's about how much slip it had before. And if we hold this, I can't hold the measurement at the same time, but it's about 1.5 inch. That's maybe not completely true, but it's an indication of how much. But yeah, maybe start with 1 inch and see where we go from there. So yeah, I'm just gonna start cutting. I have the drive shaft here, so I'm gonna grind off the weld here and cut it here something very gently, because this has a, I don't know what I call it, it's like an sleeve that goes in here, so we can just cut how much we want, push this in and re-weld it. Is it going to be 100% perfect? No, but it's going to be good enough. So yeah, just gonna cut this and then maybe remove 1 inch, smack this together without welding it, test it on the car, see if it have enough slip, and if we're good, we weld it. If not, we remove some more. So yeah, gonna cut this. Here we have the first shortening. I took out 1 inch, and the most important thing when you're shortening a drive shaft is that these two ends are the same, so that they line up with each other. Now this part is up and that part is up. So when I did this, I made a little guiding cut over all of this so that I could just line these up on both sides, and I knew that that was okay. And these, the ones I have encountered before, they have maybe about 1 inch sticking into the tube. This was a lot shorter, maybe only like this, and the longer ones, they center a bit better, so they're a bit easier to work with than this is, but I think we're gonna make it work. But I test fitted this on a car, and I made a little mark here. It's hard to see, but we have a little bit to go, so we have to remove this much. more. So I'm gonna do that, remove a little more, put it back together again, test fit it again, and if that's good, we're welding it. So yeah, gonna cut some more. We have the drive shaft in place, and here we have enough slip. I took a little bit extra because I think that when the suspension compresses during driving, we probably get a little more of this wear. So I think this is where it wants to be, and we have about an inch of slip or what it is. So I think this will be great. So we're just gonna remove this and weld this, and then we're done. We're ready to weld here. I have taken a bunch of measurements, tried to do center on the U-joints, back and forth, and rotating this and trying to get it as good as I can. I think this is good. As I said earlier, often they have a much longer sleeve, so they're a lot easier to get where they want to be. But this didn't have it, so I think this is good enough. So I'm just gonna weld this, and then I can put it in the car. The drive shaft is in and done, so hopefully that is good. And I actually sped up this thing because I am done. I made a little bracket for the brake hose, so that was flopping around. I put on the diff cover, put in oil, and yeah, it's done. So I'm gonna try and drive it here on the jack stands for a bit. Definitely I'm not gonna say, but if we're having a problem, we probably won't notice it here on the jack stands. But I'm gonna start it, see just if it works, and then we can take for a test drive. It seems to be working, so yeah, I don't think there's anything left to do is to put it on the ground and take for a test drive. Okay, so I'm on the way out of my neighborhood here, and so far so good, but we need to test it in some higher speeds. So going out here on the main road, so hopefully it stays quiet. We're heading out here on the main road, and hopefully it's more quiet than last rear axle, but I can hear already that it's better because the other rear axle sounded a lot the whole time. So yeah, this is a success, and no vibrations in the drive shaft, not that I can feel anyway. Seems to be working good, so that's great. We don't have to change the rear axle again, because I started thinking about that when I was in the middle of this project, that it's a big gamble just putting in this rear axle that I don't know anything about, that is probably, it's a 68, 69 Camaro rear axle, so I mean it's 50 years old. I have no idea what's been done to it, but it seems to be working great. So yeah, that's fantastic. We don't have to change it another time. So yeah, I'm gonna drive home again, and then we can discuss what we're gonna do now. We're back here in the garage, and as I said, thankfully this worked. I'm not gonna say I put down a lot of effort to do this, but some effort, and if it wouldn't have been quiet, it would have been a bit of a pain. And when I say it's quiet, it's not dead quiet. I mean, it's a 50-year-old car. Now we have even added a rear axle that is 6 or 7 years older than this car. And I don't think that these cars were dead silent when they were new. I mean, rear axles, it's gears going against each other. It's hard to not make noises. So it's not dead quiet, but it is quiet enough to where I think it's how an old car is. So yeah, that's how it is. I think it's great. So that's about what we're gonna do today. I have to go and pick up my kids here in a little while, and I'm actually gonna take the Nova. And tomorrow
I've thought about this since I bought this car, and I have offered this car in a trade for another car, and we only have to discuss the money involved because I need to get money in between, and we'll see if he agrees to pay what I want in between, and hopefully we can make a trade tomorrow for something cool. But yeah, the Nova is done for now, but we'll see tomorrow what we'll do, if we can possibly make this trade or if we do something else. So I'll see you tomorrow and see what we'll do then. Good morning, it's Friday and I have just been and left the kids at school, and I also drove the Nova and picked them up from school yesterday, and it works great. And this is a really neat car. It's great in every way. It drives smooth, it's enough power to move but not enough to be annoying, and the exhaust is it's not too loud, but it makes some noises when you put the pedal to the floor, and I'm not sure how to describe it. It's a very neat car to drive, very smooth and silent in here and everything. It's a great daily driver. Wish I could keep them all, but unfortunately this isn't going to stay anyway. But I'm gonna drive home here and see what we'll do. Then a little bit later we're going to put this up on a trailer and drive away and see if we can trade it for the other car. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. We're back home here, and as I said, this car is really neat. I have trouble finding words in English to describe it, but it drives so smooth, it's quiet inside, it's not rattling. My 67 Chevelle, which is a bit of an unfair comparison since it's in much worse shape, but it's a lot of difference between a car made in 67 and 75. They made a lot of improvements over the years. So it's a super nice driver. But unfortunately, we can't keep them all. But my plan was we're going to do some stuff outside, but it's a really cloudy day, it's raining, and I'm not really feeling working out in the rain when I don't really have to. So also it's 8:30 and we're going to be there at 10 to see if we can do this trade. And there's not really much we can do. There's no point in cleaning it. It's going to be way more dirty when I arrive there. So I think the only thing I'm going to do is I'm going to vacuum out this a little bit, make it as nice as I can. But it's going to look like shit when I arrive there anyway, since I don't have an enclosed trailer. So yeah, I'm going to clean this. Then I will probably be back when I have met the guy, see if we can make the trade. And yeah, I will be back when we know if we could do the trade. So yeah, see you in a bit. We have the Nova loaded, so we're gonna head off. I don't have any super high expectations that this deal is going to go through, because the thing is he has to pay me a lot of money in between to make this deal happen, and I'm not really sure that he wants to pay that much, but he's a car dealer, so I don't know, we'll see. So maybe this is the last time you'll see the Nova, or I will be back home with it here soon. So yeah, see how this goes. I'm back home, and the weather cleared up, and got some really nice spring weather. And now you're thinking, do we have the Nova back home with us, or do we have this other car that I wanted to try and trade for? And the reality is that we're empty home. So I didn't really expect this to happen, but I sold the Nova to this car dealer. And the car I wanted to trade for is a Volvo 780. It's if you don't know, it's a pretty rare two-door Volvo in the 7 Series that yeah, they're pretty rare, hard to come by, not super popular or super in demand, but I thought that would be a fun project. But we couldn't meet anywhere where he could pay so much money that I wanted to have in between, so we couldn't make that deal. So instead he asked me what I wanted for it, and I told him what I wanted, and we hustled back and forth and agreed on a price that I thought was acceptable. Maybe I could have made another $1,000 or $1,500 but then I have to take it home, I have to make an ad, I have to show it to people, and so on. And I just felt that for now, that money that I got was more useful than waiting for some maybe extra more money, because just because I take it home and put it up for sale isn't a guarantee that I make more money in the end. I maybe could have made less money. So yeah, that's the route I took. So I'm really happy with the money I got. I doubled my money, and yeah, in a very short amount of time. So I'm really satisfied. So with that said, what are we going to do now? Nova is gone, and I should go back to working on the 65 Chevelle, which we're going to do, but I want to celebrate a little bit here and do something fun that I've been wanting to do for a while. So my plan is right now is that we're going to work a little bit on my K10 here. For those of you that don't know, this is a K10 short bed. It was originally a 6.2 diesel and a 4-speed. Now it's a 350 and a 4-speed. And it is running and driving, but it has no radiator, no power steering, and no alternator and stuff like that. So we have to do some buttoning up to make this run and drive. But I want to take the next week and do as much as possible to make this maybe street worthy. Maybe we can get it enough to get it inspected. I don't know. But that's the plan. So this is, I mean, it drove up to where it is right now. So hopefully it starts. As I said, it doesn't have a radiator, doesn't have power steering. So it's a pretty stressful to drive because you don't want to overheat the engine, and it's pretty pain to drive because of the power steering. So that's the first things I want to do. So I'm gonna see if we can get this started and drive it out on in the backyard. I can't really remember when I parked this here. Maybe like the late summer or early autumn. But anyway, yeah, just gonna see if it starts. I know that it wants some spray to start. So just gonna see if it wanna fire off. Try and drive it before it gets too hot. I thought that I recorded a great video of me driving the truck into the garage, but apparently I forgot to press record. But it is in, and it was a major pain, and of course because of the power steering. But not only that, but I forgot to tell you that the clutch isn't releasing as it should.
The last thing that was done to this is that I removed the 6.2 diesel, put in a 350 with the new clutch, everything, pressure plate and disc and everything. But I also redid all the hydraulics because this is a later square body with the hydraulic clutch setup, and it's I couldn't bleed it, so it is just spongy. It doesn't. You can get it to disengage enough to not be driving, but not enough to change gears. So you have to turn it off to get it in gear and turn it off to get into reverse, and then with the power steering, and yeah, it just becomes a major pain. But yeah, so what we have to do next week is the clutch, make that work. We have to look at the brakes. We have to, of course, install a radiator, get the power steering to work. But there's not a hell of a lot to do on this to make it drivable on the street. Maybe even get it to where we can get it inspected. But first of all, I just want to make it more drivable here in the backyard. But I think we're gonna dedicate the whole next week to this thing and see how far we can get it. I think we can get very far, and probably won't be a lot more to do after that to get it on the road. So yeah, we're just gonna do one more thing here before we quit for today. What we're gonna do today is we're gonna remove these wheels because I have sold the rims to a guy, and I have another person that is interested in the tires. So that's partly why I took this out of storage, or what you want to call it. But yeah, I want to do something fun, so I thought we can work on this, and it's a win-win, so we can remove the wheels easily. And what we're gonna install instead are these. And when you look at these first, you think that they're really ugly, but I bought these really cheap. I paid $50 for them, for the rims, not the tires. And I just thought that they look pretty cool, and the more I look at them, the cooler they get. And what I like about them the most is that you're not finding another truck with them. I think they're called NK NSR. And yeah, it's a very uncommon wheel. I've seen one other set for sale here in Sweden. So yeah, we're gonna put these on and remove these so we can sell these. I think I never have removed the wheels on this truck, and I saw that the brake pads look very good, and yeah, doesn't look all too bad here. I have some new calipers for this, so I'm probably gonna change them anyway. But it's lifted. Someone has put in an extra leaf here in the packs. These came with, they could come with both 2 or 3 leaves in the front packs, but obviously it isn't supposed to look like this. This is some sort of added leaf. But anyway, not much more to talk about here. It's gonna put on the new wheels. This looks really cool. I really like these wheels. But also nice with the 35s. Maybe we have to do some trimming here in the rear, or maybe in the front, but I'm not thinking I'm gonna have so bad conscience for doing that with these fenders. But anyway, I'm gonna go the whole way around, change them, and then we can see how it looks. I realized that is a very big difference since I've worked with the Chevelle and the Nova and stuff in here for a while. And it's a very big difference having a small passenger car and a truck in here. But we still have to work with it. But when I sold the other wheels, I thought that I maybe would regret it. But now that I got these on, I think this looks awesome. I really like these rims. Gonna look really great on this. I hate white cars and trucks, so we have to do something about that later. But yeah, for now it isn't going to happen anything. But next week we're gonna do some work on here, install the radiator. I have to do something about the tank. They are bad, and yeah, I have to do some small stuff, but nothing really major. So yeah, that will be next week's problem. But just one little more thing here before we go.
I mean, it's Friday after all, so of course I have to drive the Chevelle to pick up the kids. I mean, it's first sun here in the spring. I don't know what I call it, spring here in the end of February, but it's 6 degrees Celsius, and yeah, I'm really done with this winter. I really want spring right now. But anyway, thank you so much for watching this week. Hopefully next week will be a little more fun video. I'm gonna work with the K10 truck. But anyway, see you next week.